Okay, Madam Secretary, we got a quorum.
Yes, sir.
All right, Evelyn, we got a quorum. Really do appreciate you making an extra effort to come out. Thanks to staff or calls or emails, texts, and pictures, get people here, whatever it took, everyone's here. So thank you so much for coming in. All right, is there any public comment today? No public comment. All right, we'll move along. We have the minutes in your package, and hopefully you reviewed those. I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes. Second, Susan and Ken, seconded. All right, any discussion on the minutes? No discussion. Miguel, thank you for coming. See you. All right, then I'll call a vote. All in favor of accepting the minutes as written, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? It is passed. All right. Lori has a discussion regarding the bylaws to increase our board membership. So
Hi, thank you. Thank you for being here this morning. We actually do have the 2/3 we need beyond the forum. To do a bylaw amendment, we need 2/3 of the actual members. We have only 22 members seated right now. We have lost a couple of our public members. And Ellen, of course, retired, has been in place. So we are at 22, 15 of you will be 2/3. We are asking you to approve a very simple bylaw change. The Ed committee is working on additional changes, so this is not, it is in addition to, so we can move this along. To accommodate the new legislation, it required us to hire, have rather an appointment of a workforce education person. That has been satisfied. It went in on time on the November code from Judge Jenkins. So we will have a new member representing the child care workforce. What you have here is an extension of the membership from 25 to 49. Start coming to meetings, folks. 15 will be our court in the future, not 13. I wish I could have made it fewer. The lowest number is 27, but to keep everyone in their places and not push anybody off to accommodate this, we had to go up. Now, we are unique. Not every board had 25 members written into their partnership agreement. But because Lee Jackson wrote our agreement as the first in Texas, he wrote it in there. It's the minimum, so he wrote in, we'll have 25 members. So this changes that to 29. Happy to answer any questions. This gave 2 new members to each of our chief elected officials, 2 more at the mayor and 2 more at the judge. The judge satisfied 1 with the child care workforce. Probably we will finally get hospital administration on here, maybe some additional retail activity. You know, we could use major retailers in the city. So there's a lot of things that can be done with these slots, I think. And Ken been wonderful trying to help me with the mayor's office. Right now we are not getting any. Are you getting anything? We're not getting any information back on several reappointments. And you're in there, anybody who's waiting to be reappointed, and people who are, we're looking for new people. But yeah, anybody can put a word in, you have to see inside fully. A workforce board really needs to get, you know, that would be helpful. And I know Carter met with the judge Burbank by chance. The judge is walking a partnership agreement around to change this in the elected official document, not our document. We want to be ready. The bylaw change. So, question, issues? No.
but just we could talk a little bit about between now and January what happens to the board membership.
Yeah. Here. Between now and January 30, this board is not out of compliance. As of December 31st, we do fall out of compliance because we have 90 days to reappoint or replace members. And right now we have many replacements needed and reappointments needed. That's mostly on the mayor's side. The judge has taken care of you. It was Lewis and who was it? Rebecca.
I can talk to that.
Would you please? That it's important. I mean, if he has other issues, that's great, but get this one checked off so we can do business. January meeting is always like, because the mayor has done this every year, just holding, finally in. We have to go two weeks out to get the commissioners to recognize the paperwork and process it and not kill it. They actually take you as board nominees and they look at your employer's tax records and UI records and complaints on labor and workforce. I mean, it's that intense. And also making sure that you represent an industry that is in, demand the Dallas market. So we've got a lot of pieces to put together before January 24th, which is your next scheduled board meeting. And I'm thankful all of you came today, because without this, we would have been hard pressed back into our business. Appreciate it.
So thank you, Laurie, for your work on that. Any questions about our board numbers? Not at all, yeah.
Yeah, super quick, do we need to specify a certain number, or do we just need to language it to remain consistent with, kind of whatever state or, whatever the document the judge is?
Yeah, the state rule was 27, and we didn't want to get trapped in that, because now that child care workforce can't get the table, who knows what's next, right? So not less than would have been the only other change. Let me put in here, guys, I wrote it, but I can't remember it. So 29, yeah, 29, do you want to make that?
I'm just saying, like, is there a way for it to write language that sort of, if another change gets made, so we don't have to keep going through this and keep changing the number?
I think it's something to discuss, Alan. I'm bringing it up because it's awful hard getting the forum. It's a lot of work because you guys are so busy and schedules change. Even last night, someone couldn't make it. So, while we want to be inclusive and get every representative at the table on this board, it's hard. It's hard for. But you have a suggestion, Alan?
No, other than just to check, well, I guess my question, someone else can get after or stop, see the staff or whatever in terms of suggestions. Is there a lawyer that might be able to?
Yeah, they're the first, you know.
Yeah. But you get the spirit of, okay.
So in statute, our rate right now is 27.
Not less than.
Not less than. And so.
We went up to 29, anything larger than that is unbelievable. But it's not less than.
So if you want to say not less than 29 or something like
Good.
that. I mean, I get it about having to do this repeatedly. 27 is what we have to have, and then we added
2 extra. The main reason we added them was to equalize the elected officials each getting 2, and not getting anybody kicked off the board to replace with this person. And she's a fine person. So,
Do we want to say not less than the statutory requirement? You know, so that way, if we, you know, we're always, if they change it again, we're always there. Is that way we don't have to keep changing.
we'll say it's 725 since 1995. So it's not something that happens. Oh, and that's why we did 29. So I hated to rely on statutory because I think there's a need on this board to be independent and statutory. So I thought, well, if I put that in there.
I think it's just a not less than statutory, and then we can always
Yeah,
go
no.
up to 29 or go up to whatever we want to.
So that was just-
The point being is, like, we're saying we won't ever go below what's required, but then we of course have the option to add more, like, for exactly the rationale that you laid out. Yeah.
If we're not 29, these percentages don't work out. I've struggled with this quite a long time.
Well, then not less than statutory and then putting in the percentages would.
Which are here. We can't ding the 15% labor and nonprofit if it's not 29. The state went 27 by creative, but I think they're gonna get slapped for it because they rounded up. You don't round up on organized labor and nonprofits. That's the heart and soul of the worker, you know, representation on the board.
I think we're getting to the same place. I'm just simply saying, let's like perhaps consider to devs, the language devs, put forward, not adding additional have tos, so that if things change. We've got the percentages, right? We've got not less than, then the math equation would lead us back to 21.
Well, whatever. Yeah. Second 4.1, where it says go down the line, section 4.1, number of the directors. Go to the penultimate line there, that the development has to be before you do it. And it shall be no less than 27. I'm just having a hard time understanding why that stuff is trouble. If you do 29, you're gonna say no less than 27, how that little playing word.
Because if you go down to 28, you can't get the percentages. If you go down to 27, you will actually not meet the 15%.
But this board wouldn't go down to 27.
But it might. The people around the table aren't the same people that are here today. That's the problem we're having with all these agreements. They haven't been open since 1995. I am the only one who's still around. That's true of the board directors as well. They couldn't remember what the rules were. I just would hate to see us slip into non-compliance for lack of information. That's all. So it is the board's choice. For you,
I mean, I do think from a legal perspective, it's important to have a specific number, whatever that may be, so we know how many directors there are at any given time, and that we're meeting the right threshold numbers.
and that's more for the corporation. We are still a nonprofit corporation. Now, the corporate papers did not say the number, but it's declared in everything else.
Probably just add she'll be 29, which is greater than the current statutory requirement of 27. So that way, a future board, if they're contemplating something, knows that that's, you know, what we chose to do. That way, we're just acknowledging that that's the current statutory limit.
Yeah, that's fine, that's kind of a non-compliant but we're in compliance statement.
Right.
You have exceed.
Right, so it will be 29 for, which is the statutory requirement.
That'd be fine.
Motion and probably something.
So let's modify the language. Rick, you wanna provide the modification?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's also something I think, I mean, we could adopt this just to. Right, just to get it done, and then we could circle back with.
Yeah, we're looking at modifying the bylaws. Joanne has moved well along in that process, and that committee's going to be bringing forth some changes to the bylaws January, February next year.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the easiest way,
Let's just do that.
let's just, you know. In the moment, adopt this, so we're in compliance, and then we could, there are probably several places where, you know, adding language to simplify things makes sense.
What's the risk if the mayor doesn't come into compliance? And we have a higher number than we have today. So if he doesn't give us nominations, we're looking for 29, he could put us in non-compliance. Is there a way around that?
He's done it before. I mean, we have had post on meetings.
No way
around paper. No, there's
There's no way around it until he does this.
The only thing would be, and I'm researching this because when we did the original agreement, it was 75% of the elected officials that must be included. So that's the, I'm not talking about this, and then the elected official partnership agreement. That must be signed by the mayors of Irving, Grand Prairie, Mesquite, Garland, Dallas, and the county judge. So that represents any city with more than 100,000 population in the county. This board, or this workforce area has informed the board, workforce area. 75% of the elected, so last time it was done in 95, Irving declined. Actually, it just got caught in their legal department and never came out. So we have 5 of the 6 signed in the original agreement. The judge is trying to get 6 of 6 right now. But the mayor could decline. That would not disturb us. I think if we can find a 75% conversation, but not appointing people to the board. Yes, that could kill us, but that could kill us if people decline and has. It's been like very touch and go in January of each year to get people on the board in a timely process, and we delayed January meetings. And this year, we're doing delayed by a week, give us as much time as possible.
Well, my instinct is to go forward and then have the committee, joint committee to review these changes. So if it's the will of the board to keep it as is, then let's, I would accept a recommendation of accept this. Right, Deb, second.
Second.
Who was that?
Any other discussions? Got to call it for a vote, all in favor, aye, anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, next item is, lease briefing on the Garland location. It's been, in and out, up and down, roundabout, and, we are in a state-owned building. The state in downtown Garland, I think the building was built, well, let's just say when God was a child.
Come on, it's 71.
1971.
I'm still okay.
So, there is a desire by the state to sell that building, I believe, and we have us and other agencies in that building, so we're not the only ones affected. They want us out.
Thank you. The due date was supposed to be February of 24, actually supposed to be February 20, 22, now it's 24. But they've given us a little more time, absolute last extension, April of 24. Find another location to get ourselves going. Now, in preparation to that, Alex and our tech team has actually arranged a network so that that center could be virtual if we find nothing. We we procured Jones Lang LaSalle. All of the other business in our county is CBRE and was for years and years. 2 years ago, we had very competitive bids, so we thought, let's try JLL. JLL has had our business for 2 years and 4 months, and we have nothing. Tori Little John is our broker, she's lovely, and it's just a very hard thing to find for us in the Garland area. We've been up to Richardson, we've been over to North Dallas, and we've been down to Mesquite. We just haven't found 17,000 square feet that would accommodate all of the partners. So she's getting the final bids this morning. There's 2 locations we looked at. One is foreign ownership. I don't think we can afford that in terms of meeting our needs, and Buy American, which is in all of our federal grants. I also think that the other is in the middle of LBJ construction, which may cause everyone a little pause, and it's construction to 2025. But I want to see what she brings in. If in fact there's nothing, I think we need to reconsolidate our business to CBRE. And I think they will gladly accept the challenge and see what they can find, but it is not an easy find. If any of you know of anything in the Garland area, I think we've gone as far as Broadway to I-30 and all the way up to the border of Richardson. We want to try to stay as close to the center of Garland as possible, but happy to entertain anything of that 17,000 square feet. Did you know of anything? That's more of an
So
update.
no action, just a briefing at this point.
And unless you have some exception to what I'm saying, returning the entire business to, we gotta give somebody else a chance. 2 years and 4 months, that's a little long to waste. And we looked at multiple buildings. I'm not saying they didn't give us a lot to look at. I would love those buildings in Richardson, but they were 4 miles from the county line and about 6 miles from our neighbor's workforce center. So there's that to consider.
I'll just chime in, and Ken, you can jump on this as well. From a commercial real estate standpoint, it is unusual to have one client with more than one broker. And so I think the opportunity to clean that up would be a recommendation. You know, Ken, you.
And I respect that, although I love what it will.
We do too.
And a lot of it, be way beyond what we do with jail. And nevertheless, yes, that probably doesn't make sense. Okay.
Okay.
All right, look at her last 2, see if anything was done there, and she understands. I notified her early November.
Yeah, we're not the largest commission client.
No, they're not.
It's a lot of work, for little.
Where would the LBJ location be and how long would that leave?
Looking for 10 year, that's usually best for us. This is an old school, proprietary school on the east side of LBJ. Candidate Centerville, you know, they've had a few of those academies that came up and there's a,
Remington College and,
well, there's a WeWork space. I can't think of the name of the oldest WeWork space.
no, it's Regis. not-
Region, but that's what it is, right? It's like WeWork, and they were the
Well,
original.
Regis, someone went bankrupt.
Right,
We-
no, that's it.
it's
But
Regis.
they were the original, so it's
Yes.
half of that building.
And that building would be accessible anytime, but during LBJ construction, it
Till
would be
2025.
within.
Yes.
Well, the parts,
And
parts
ours
of
will be
it
fine.
are already open,
Sorry.
parts of LJ are already open,
Right.
so it.
It's not there though. It's a mess.
And we even got misdirected by the, couldn't recognize the address, it was bad, so signage would be in the gravel, I'm just not sure, guys.
But to that point, after LPJ is built, you're gonna have, space, this, all the space that the contractor is using right now. Is becoming available at the end of 2025, but they're gonna be substantially complete before that, so it really is probably more like mid-2025, so maybe.
They give you a nice discount.
And maybe worth considering, how we navigate the next year and a half. Rather than,
We will package those and ship them out with you, and see what you think. It's going through them now. Let's see, maybe it will be a winner group. We got one that was $8 a square foot, I got very nervous.
All right, any other discussion on that? Thanks for the update, challenging real estate transaction. All right, well, then we'll go ahead and, go into the closed meeting. So. All right, we have called ourselves back. We called ourselves back in session, and, I would like to call for a motion, on one of the matters we discussed.
all right, well, I'd like to make a motion that effective immediately, we appoint Ashley Werner to the role of interim president of Workforce Solutions Great Tower.
All right. And got a second? All right, I think we've had plenty of discussion. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? No one opposed. All right. Motion carried.
Motion carried.
Entertain another one.
Now that we voted to appoint Pat Turner, the acting president of Workforce Solutions Greater Dallas, I move that we approve and grant authorization on the matter discussed in closed session about compensation.
Okay. Second there. Any further discussion or abstentions? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, one more item before we leave. Tomorrow or Thursday, November 16th, the hiring fair in red, white, blue. It honors our veterans. It's a big deal. The judge will be there. Just stop in and see us. It's a great event.
David, how many employers and how many jobs?
We have 158 employers and well over 550 job seekers.
Nice.
Before we break, we could read in the bank authorization.
Okay, we have one more cleanup, authorization on bank accounts, to move Ashley as the signator on the bank accounts. So, yep, so moved, they want a second? Yep, all right, no discussion, all in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, thanks for that.
Number thing, and all actions pursuant to our grants, Texas Workforce Commission. I have to leave me and her,
Okay, will you add that to,
the banking.
Thank you.
And then also banking and grants and notification of our funders.
all right, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Didn't even start back there, they're in Syracuse.